Ahoy, my friends. Welcome aboard the Afro Tales podcast. I'm your storyteller, Amon Mazingo. Join me as we explore the tales that grew from the people of indigenous and African descent in the Americas and the Caribbean. After, come and see me, chef, who will impart upon you a recipe for the story you have just heard. So with no further ado, let us set sail on this new age of exploration. The lazy boys who became the Pleiades. Long, long ago, in the beginning of this world, there lived an old woman with 7 children, who were all boys. The boys were full of life and fun, and they would go away from the others and play all the day long, and would not work, nor take time to eat but twice a day, morning and evening. When they came home in the evening, their mother would scold them, and one evening when they came home late for their supper, their mother would not let them have anything to eat. The boys were very angry and went back to their play and determined that on the morrow to go away where they would never trouble her anymore. The next morning, early, they went out to their playground before breakfast and began to go around and around the house, praying to the spirits to help them. At last, their mother noticed and heard what they were saying, and as she watched them, she noticed that their feet were off the earth. And then she knew something was wrong. And she ran out trying to get her children, but it was too late. With every round, they rose higher and higher in the air and were soon above the roof of the house. They circled higher and higher until they went up to the sky, where we can see them now as the 7 stars. These 7 boys who were taken to the sky were very indolent, and when the work time came, they would always slip off and play. That is the reason that during the winter months, the 7 stars can be seen. But at the beginning of the spring months, at the work time, the 7 stars are gone. The end. Evening Star and Orphan Star. A poor boy lived with a large family of people who were not kind to him and mistreated him. He could not go to play or hunt with other boys, but had to do all of the hard work. Whenever the camp broke up, the families always tried to steal away and leave the boy behind. But sooner or later, he found a new camp and went to them because he had no other place to go. One time, several families went in boats to an island in a large lake to hunt eggs, and the orphan boy went with them. After they had filled their boats with eggs and secretly made ready to go back to the mainland, in the night, while the orphan boy was asleep, they stole away in their boats, leaving him to starve on the lonely island. The boy wandered about the island, eating only the scraps that he could find around the dead campfires, until he was almost starved. As he did not have a bow and arrows, he could not hunt. But he sat by the water's edge and tried to catch fish as they swam past him. One day, As he sat on the lonely shore, he saw a large animal with horns coming to him from the water. He sat very still and watched the animal, for he was too frightened to run away. The monster came straight to him, then raised his head out of the water and said, "Boy, I have come to save you. I saw the people desert you, and I have taken pity upon you and have come to rescue you. Get on my back and hold to my horns, and I will carry you to the mainland." The boy was no longer afraid, but climbed upon the animal's back. "Keep your eyes on the blue sky, and if you see a star, tell me at once," the animal said to him. They had not gone far when the boy cried, There in the west is a big star." The monster looked up and saw the star, then turned around at once and swam back to the island as fast as he could. The next day he came and took the boy again, telling him as before to call out the moment he saw a star appear in the sky. They had gone a little farther than they had the day before when the boy cried out, There in the west is a star." The animal turned around and went to the shore. The next day and the next 4 days started with the boy, and each time he succeeded to get a little farther before the boy saw the star. The 6th time, they were within a few feet of the opposite shore when the boy saw the star. He wanted to reach the shore so badly that he thought he would keep still and not tell the monster that he saw the star, for he knew that he would take him back to the island at once if he did. He said nothing, and so the monster swam on until they were almost in the shallow water. When the boy saw a great black cloud roll in front of the star, he became frightened, jumped off the animal's back and swam to shore. Just as he jumped, something struck the animal with an awful crash and he rolled over dead. When the boy came upon the shore, a handsome young man came up to him and said, "You have done me a great favor. For a long time I have tried to kill this monster because he makes the water of the lake dangerous. But until now I could never get the chance. In return for what you have done, I will take you with me to the sky if you care to go." The boy said he wanted to go, and as he was alone and friendless upon the earth, the man, who was the evening star, took him with him to the sky, and there he may be seen as Orphan star, who stands near evening star. The end. The Girl Who Married a Star. One time a maiden slept in an arbor, and as she lay under the blue sky, she watched the stars. One star especially she watched, and she wished that it would become a man and marry her, for she did not care for any of the young men of the village. She went to sleep wishing that that star would marry her. When she awoke, she saw no stars, but an old man sitting by the fireside. Where am I?" she asked. "Your wish is granted. You are the star's wife. I am the star." She began to cry, for the man was old and homely, and she was young and beautiful. And so she had dreamed that her husband would be. The star's sister was preparing something to eat, and she told the girl to stop crying and come and eat. After a while, the two women went out to dig potatoes. They saw one big potato, and the girl asked the star's sister what the big potato was for. She answered that it was the door of heaven, and it covered the entrance to the world beneath. Then the girl cried again and begged the woman to let her go back to her people. She told her how unhappy she was and what a mistake she had made in wishing to marry the star. The woman told the star all that his wife had said, and so the star agreed to let her return to her people in 6 days. The two women went out to gather bark from young elm trees to make a rope for the girl to climb down to earth on. After they had gathered the bark, they began to make the rope, and the star helped. After 6 days, the rope was only half long enough, and so the old man said she would have to wait 6 more days until they could complete the rope. On the 11th day, the rope was finished, and the star's sister cooked some cornmeal for the girl to eat on the way and filled a squash vessel with water for her. The star told her to start early the next morning, for it would take her 10 winters and summers to get to Earth. They fastened her to the end of the rope and then removed the potato and let her through the hole and gradually let the rope slip out. At first, she could see nothing but darkness. Then, after a long time, she could see the earth. After she had traveled through many waves of warm and cold air, she knew she had been on her way many summers and winters. Her food was almost gone, and she still was a long way from the earth. Suddenly, the rope ceased to slip, and she hung swinging back and forth. She had come to the end of the rope. It was not long enough. She hung there for a long time and was about to die from hunger and weariness when she saw a buzzard circling around below her. She called to Buzzard to come and help her. He came, and after she told him her story, he told her to get on his back, that he would take her down to earth. Buzzard flew for a long time, and the girl was heavy, so he nearly gave out. He saw a hawk flying below him, and he called Hawk and asked him to help him take the girl home. Hawk flew with the girl until he could see the mountains and the rivers. Then he gave out. Buzzard took the girl on his back again, and thanking Hawk for his help, told him to go on his way, that he could take the girl onto her home. Buzzard flew on until they could see the trees, and soon they were even with the tops of the highest trees. Then Buzzard told the girl to go into her lodge when she went home, and not to let anyone but her father and mother see her. She was so thin that she was little more than skin and bones. Buzzard flew to the ground and lighted very gently just outside the girl's village. He pointed out her parents' lodge to her and then said goodbye and flew away. The girl rested for a while and then began to walk very slowly to the lodge, for she was weak and exhausted. On the way, she saw a woman coming toward her. She hid behind a bush, but the woman saw her and screamed, for the girl was so thin that she frightened her. The girl told the woman not to be afraid and told her who she was. Then the woman recognized the lost maiden and helped her to her lodge. Her mother did not know her at first, but when she found that the girl was her daughter, she threw her arms about her and wept. The news of the girl's return spread throughout the village, but her parents obeyed her wish and refused to let anyone see her until after the 10th day. Then they came to her teepee, and she told them her story, and especially about the kindness shown her by Buzzard. After that, people always left one buffalo for the buzzards after a big killing. The end. Wow. So these were some great stories coming from the book Traditions of the Caddo, collected under the auspices of the Carnegie Institution of Washington, by George A. Dorsey. I really liked the star theme in these stories. They were very interesting. First things first, though. There are more than 7 stars in the Pleiades. Those are just what it looked like looking for us to look up into the sky at night. The Caddo people, the Greek, and even the Aborigines of Australia all have stories, and I'm pretty sure there's more people groups that have stories of the Pleiades. But if you were to Google the Pleiades, you would see that it's more than 7. It's more like 9, I think. And then the actual numbers, I think, over 1,000 stars in each cluster. So that that alone kind of like throws off the story, or even like the 7 Sisters story in Greece or anything like that, because it's more than that. But I think the message is clear that don't be lazy. They got stuck up there, and it is a message to show that, yeah, during the winter months, you can see them. Winter months, you also aren't doing much work. You should have already harvested everything you're going to do, and now you are resting and trying to stay warm, and the animals are hibernating or deep sleeping, and it's a time for rest. But then when the work time comes, springtime comes, it's time to go to work, and those stars, for the Caddo people at least, could not be seen anymore. So that was a very interesting outlook on that. The evening star and the orphan star story was also very interesting, since orphan stars are hard to see by the naked eye, and the evening star, if you don't know, is basically Venus. So it's the evening and the morning star. Venus is. So it was a little weird trying to figure out what the orphan star was. Now, an interesting thing is that the orphan star can refer to a story from the Maasai people in Africa that is called the orphan boy, and they're actually referring to Venus in that in that sense. So that's interesting. So in most people recognize the evening star and the morning star as being Venus, but in Maasai culture, the orphan boy is also Venus. So if you were to have some kind of way of that these two people groups came in connection at some point before these stories were recorded, maybe that's where you get the two from. I'm not sure. It just sounds pretty interesting that an orphan star is a very faint star that you can see not normally by the naked eye. I don't know if at the time when they came up with this story, they were able to see maybe one of Venus's moons, and that is where they get the orphan star from. Maybe they saw Venus and a moon, or maybe they saw Venus and another celestial body close to it, but a little fainter, so it looked like an orphan star. I don't know. That is something that we would never know, because even if you were to talk to people now, they would probably have a different opinion than what the people that saw it at that very moment thought. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't like the way the orphan boy treated the monster, and I don't like the way that the evening star just killed the monster. I mean, I understand that, to make the water's dangerous, but ocean is dangerous. Water is dangerous no matter what, even if there's a monster there or not. It's still dangerous. You know what I mean? So I really feel like the monster got the raw end of the stick on that. And lastly, the story about the girl marrying the star. And understand, there's two versions of this. So if you heard a fourth story, I understand you heard both versions, and that means you are a Patreon subscriber, because they're the ones that are getting the fourth one, because I just thought it was redundant to play both. And I really didn't like the second version as much, but I thought it would be nice to share. So in that story, you have a girl who wants to marry a star rather than be married to one of the guys in the village, and wishes to do it and does it. And then she realized, oh, the star is actually a very, very old man. And she's a young maiden, and she's like, no, I don't want this. And instead of the star holding her captive, his sister tells him, hey, sorry, bro, she's not feeling you like that. And he's like, you know what? Okay, I'm cool. Because, I mean, a star would be an old man. If you made a star a human, it more than likely would be an old man, because stars are old. You know what I'm saying? What we view as stars are very old. So, you know what I mean? So that makes sense. And, but yeah, so they helped her out. They helped her get back to Earth. And unfortunately, they didn't make enough because, they're far from Earth. And so they didn't make the rope long enough. But then the buzzard helps her, and, she gets home. And I think, the story is trying to tell us that, be grateful for what you have. I understand wanting more, but sometimes what you wish for isn't what you actually want. You know what I mean? I think that's what be mindful of what you wish for. Because she just said she wanted the star to be a man, and the star was a man. It was an old man. So I wonder if she went back home and and wound up marrying one of the guys from the village. I thought it was gonna be like a time skip type thing, that she was gonna get home and she wasn't gonna meet any family, because time for a star and time for a human, very, very different. I thought it was gonna be one of those kind of stories, but it wasn't. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, three cool stories. And if you got the fourth one, which I'm not doing a analysis on, because I don't even like the story, you'll see it if you are on Patreon and you're getting this episode. But go see Chef. He has a wonderful Louisiana recipe for these stories. And until next time, as always, thank you for taking your time out and coming with me on this voyage. And until we meet again, as always, have a blessed day. Welcome, my friends of the galley. I am your chef, and today we have a wonderful recipe inspired by the stories you have just heard. Today, we will be creating Southern Fried Catfish. Now, what do you need for this delicious recipe? 1.5 cups of fine yellow cornmeal, half a cup of all-purpose flour, 2.5 to 3 teaspoons of seasoned salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of lemon pepper, half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Go up or down depending on your heat preferences. 2 large eggs, 2 teaspoons of hot sauce. Go up or down depending on your hot sauce preference. 1 pound of catfish fillets, patted dry with a paper towel. You can also cut into smaller pieces if you wish. Lemon wedges, tartar sauce, and hot sauce for serving. Now, how do you put this together? Easy. In a brown bag or a Ziploc bag, add the cornmeal, flour, and spices and shake together. In a deep pie plate or large shallow bowl, whisk together the eggs and hot sauce. Add each fillet into the beaten egg on both sides and add to the cornmeal, breading and shake liberally to coat well. Shake off excess coating and add to a parchment covered baking sheet. Repeat with each fillet. Then let the fish set for about 10 to 15 minutes before frying. In a large Dutch oven, pot or deep fryer, pour in about 4 inches of oil and heat over medium-high heat until the temperature reaches approximately 350 to 360 degrees Fahrenheit. Working in batches, lower a few fillet into oil, making sure not to overcrowd the Dutch oven. Fry fillets until golden brown, or about 2 to 5 minutes should do on each side, depending on the size of the fish before turning over. Then, remove and drain on a wire rack with a baking sheet with paper towels beneath. Now, let cool for 5 to 10 minutes. Then serve with lemon wedges, hot sauce in a bottle on the side, and hush puppies and a couple of sprigs of parsley if you so desire. And that is it, my friends. Now, go make this recipe yours. And until I have another wonderful recipe for you, remember the stories of the stars and what they mean. And until next time, my friends, as always, enjoy. Thank you, my friends, for coming on this voyage. Thanks to Art by Chalet for the logo, episode, and shirt designs. You can get t-shirts and other items on tpublic.com. You can contact me on all socials at AfroTalesCast. That's AfroTales Cast. And email me at AfroTalesCast@gmail.com. You may also become a benefactor by simply sharing with any and everyone, giving a thumbs up, a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app of choice, or simply donating on Patreon or Ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com. So until we meet again, may your winds be fair and your seas follow.